look at this footage here at the side of the screen. Apparently, the Princess of Wales, Princess Catherine, said this was one of the hardest things that she'd ever had to do. Apparently it was so challenging, full of anxiety, and of course, more importantly, she realised that she would be, shall we say, analysed in public. But there's a bigger reason that I've just learned exactly as to why apparently Catherine and Meghan were simply not the best of chums. And this may surprise you. As ever, let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you today. I hope you're all keeping well, fine and dandy, whatever you're doing. And yes, lovely to have your company. Thank you as ever for being so supportive to the channel. It is very much appreciated. And I'm glad that you like so many of the varied things that we put up. I have to say a funny thing I wanted to share with you though. I keep getting a message from a particular individual saying they don't like the beeps at the start of the, the globe that goes round Ayla RKO, but with Neil on the front, you know what I mean, the one. Well, it's so funny, and I said, well, just turn the sound on. Oh no, they can't bear it. You come away thinking, goodness, is this the only thing you've got to worry about? It should be about whether you enjoy the content or not. And as I've said, it wakes a few of us up, doesn't it? The Moss Cup, yes, I can tell, you see, absolutely. Back as ever to your royal story of the day. Now, I wanted to share this with you because I think this is really important, in fact, because as we all know, and let's make no bones about it, Catherine and Meghan never truly were chummy. There's no two ways about it. Meghan really came from a background that she thought she was going to reinvent the monarchy, monetize it all, and of course offer sage advice to our wonderful monarch, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, indeed in how to reaffirm herself on the world stage. But you see, the bigger issue, as I've found out from talking to people who were working with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex for their short tenure in their time in the monarchy, was that Catherine found it very, very straining, because although she tried her best to welcome Meghan into the abode, Meghan apparently never really took to royal life. And by that, what I meant was, of course, they had very much a strict regime. You see, Catherine's very punctual, on time, knows in advance exactly what's happening, what's required, and more importantly, what the event is. Meghan, according to that well-placed source, and as ever we have to say allegedly, was always running late, and then misguidedly at the 11th hour needed a lot of advice and backup and what's happening, nobody's told me, that sort of thing, creating anxiety. Of course, as I say, Catherine herself is very, very punctual indeed, likes to be ahead of time, likes to make sure that everybody feels comfortable in her presence. Apparently, again, Meghan was always running late, and it could be somebody else's fault, a disaster with the dress, seemingly nobody told her the right time, that sort of thing. Now, you can understand exactly how this must have preyed not just on the Princess of Wales's mind, but of course Meghan herself. Clearly, she was used to somebody giving her a schedule, cajoling her to get there, as you do in the world of show business, like suits, turning up with a car, etc. Now, what I find fascinating in all of this, and I've said this to you before, is that really she had somebody on tap next to her, and apparently she relied on Harry. So surely he must have been able to tell her exactly what was required in royal life. Finally, the reason why the ladies simply just didn't get on was that it didn't matter what Catherine suggested, apparently, it just was never really welcomed openly, whether that be how to do a certain aspect of the role, or indeed, perhaps say something regarding childcare. And I'm not taking sides here, this is from an eminent person who was dealing with the Duchess of Sussex at that time. And they said, that really in the end, they felt that the Princess of Wales had just exhausted all goodwill. And it's fascinating as we see this unfolding now with Meghan's life post, of course, royal life. Seemingly she can't get anything together, sustain anything for a long period of time. So while, of course, critics might look at each other and say, why on earth didn't these royal ladies get on? Well, it's interesting to note, isn't it, that somebody else who Catherine gets on incredibly well with is none other than the Duchess of Edinburgh, Sophie. A former PR lady, very, very organised, exactly knows what the job is in hand. And they've turned out to be very good best of friends. Seemingly though, Meghan could never overstretch herself to get organised enough to go down this path. Fascinating insight to learn on how it all pans out in the end, isn't it? Neil Sean in the very heart of Kensington.